Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Coach Undress with coachingwithundress.com. And ladies, thank you for tuning in because we're going to talk about a very popular term in the dating world. It's very popular. Red flags. We all got them. Excuse me. We all got them. But the idea is, are they deal breakers? Do we minimize the damage? Are we aware of them? Do we trigger them? Do we gaslight them? Another popular word. Everyone's got red flags. You do, I do, everyone does. But the idea is knowing how to understand and manage them so we don't sabotage ourselves with what we need to work on within ourselves. So it's not denying your red flags, it's not ignoring it, it's accepting them, embracing them, but learning from them to stop acting on them. Have you come to a point where you realize, man, my red flags keep on dictating my relationships, keep on controlling my actions, take over my emotions, and I keep on burying myself in the ground deeper and deeper because these red flags are just taking over my life. Well, today we're going to talk about 3 red flags that, not just women, but in men too, are things that you need to be aware of immediately that, to me, are deal breakers, that aren't really fixable, things you shouldn't try to compromise. Interesting. You know, earlier in my other video, I talked about how this beautiful definition from a good friend of mine told me about love. And I talked about it in a previous video. And I want to hear what your definition of what love is. And there's so many different, so there's nothing wrong with any word or any explanation of what you think definition of love is. But what it stands for is living of valued energy. Living of valued energy. Think about that. Are you living in an energy lifestyle or energetic lifestyle that you value what you are, who you are, what you're doing? You need to ask yourself those things. Are you representing yourself in the best way you can? Have you learned from your mistakes? When you pay attention to these things, then maybe you might prevent dating these red flags or showing these red flags. Because I don't think people purposely are trying to promote and force these red flags on people. I think they're actual reflections and reactions of fear and doubt. I think red flags are created from the substance of fear and doubt. How we manage it, or express it, or show it, or even share it is probably not healthy or productive or even somewhat helpful. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that, right? That's why, again, understanding the living of valued energy is understanding part of your valued energy and your own red flags. Owning them. But let's not make excuses to live from them anymore or live off them anymore. Number 1, a red flag, which goes both ways, of course. Criticism. Who are you to start criticizing someone in the early stages of dating? And I'm talking about red flags in the early stages of dating. So when you're criticizing a man or a man's criticizing you, I don't care if it's playful. I don't care if it's sarcastic, passive aggressive. Criticism is pure judgment and a know-it-all attitude. And it's someone you don't really want to get to know because they take ownership, empowerment. They thrive on criticizing someone to make them feel up. They put people down to make them feel up. If someone criticizes you in the very early stages of dating, I'm telling you, I want you to walk away and then say, thank you, but no thank you. Who are you to criticize and judge what I've done or what I haven't done? It's so easy for you to judge and just say the obvious out there, like Captain Obvious in those commercials, criticizing. There's a different way of being constructive criticism, and that's when you actually have a genuine care about the concern and you want to focus more about the solution compared to fueling the problem and just criticizing and poking and basically judging and blaming and pointing it out the issue, criticizing. Someone who's focused on the solution can say, hey, here's some constructive criticism, Coach Andres, which I always welcome. If you have any constructive criticism, leave a comment, leave a message. I want to hear what you have to criticize about in a constructive way, of course, because you guys help me become a better coach. Number 2, talking about your ex a lot. It's a red flag to a point where it's not that how dare you or shame on you or you're a horrible person. Not that. So I don't mean to be mean. But if you're talking about your ex in any way, in any form of light, good, bad, memories, comparisons, anything, it's more of a red flag showing me that you're not ready for a relationship, showing you he's not ready for a relationship because they're still freshly in their mind, which is normal, it's understandable, and we've all been there. So if that story, that person, that comparison, that reference of the ex keeps on coming up a lot, that's showing and telling you, red flag, not that they're a bad person, that they're just not ready to date. You want to be able to talk about how you've grown from the last relationship and you've learned about being on your own and you've taken the time to heal from that and you reflect on that relationship in that way of that outlook compared to still in it emotionally or mentally. You know, I always give this advice about my clients when they're in the first couple of dating stages or first couple of moments of their first few dates. And the obvious question comes up about the ex, your last relationship. How long was it? What happened? Where had it go? And I always suggest not to reject that question, but redirect it where if there's something great going on and between you two, and that question comes up in a very early point of the dating stages, which is normal, it's expected. Before you get more into that, you can honestly, respectfully say, I really like what's going on here between you and I would love to tell you more about that, but how about another time? Because you're basically saying, I don't want to open that door. It's not because I have feelings for that person, but it's more about, let's not bring that world into what's going on right here now. Because I'm so excited. I love the purity. I love the innocence. I love this refreshing air that we're having together. And I'm not ashamed of the last relationship because every last relationship, is a failure in some point from both people, but you shouldn't be ashamed of it because you learned from it. It's made you who you are today. But you don't want to open up those feelings, open up those old wounds and stories and scenarios to someone who doesn't know you that well yet. And I love that they're intrigued and interested to find out, but doesn't mean you always have to answer to the fullest extent. So you're not saying no, you're just saying, again, not yet. I really love what's going on here. I have no problem answering that, but how about I just tell you more about that another time? I want to get to know more about you. Whatever happened then, but it put me in a position to be with you today. And I really appreciate that. I'm grateful for that. And I want to get to know more of you before I share more of what I've gone through. And that way we're looking forward. That level of understanding and openness to the person, it's a very unique approach because you're realizing, wow, it's not that she's scared or he's scared to tell me about it, but they're actually more interested in learning more about what this is or where this could go before opening up all those old feelings and wounds. It's a great thing. Number 3, red flag. Red flag. Whoa. Red flag. Probably my biggest one. The biggest one. Negativity. When you're negative about everything and anything, it's such a turnoff. And I mean, it goes both ways, ladies. So for men too, if a man's negative, get out of there. The profile on the dating app, if it has some level of negative quotes, negative sayings, or Debbie Downer moments about the bio of who he is, do not swipe right. I don't care how he looks. I don't care what he has. The negative people should stay with more negative people. But the problem is, negative people usually try to attract and pull in positive people because they want the opposite. And they drain that person of all their positive spirit and soul. And they just suck the life out of them. I've seen it so much. I've seen it so often. It's so sad, unfortunately. And I'm not saying you got to be like Tony Robbins' positive attitude or Optimus Prime of positivity, but just understanding that you're aware of the negative things in life, but you're focusing more on the solution of things. Kind of like the criticism. You can easily criticize me right now, and I'm okay with it, but are you trying to put me down or bring me up with some level of insight, opinions, suggestions? I welcome that. That's a more of a positive approach than just criticizing. Negative thinking, negative attitude, negative energy. You'd be surprised how people can manipulate that, just thinking that's not who they are, but then really that's exactly who they are. They portray this level of positivity and optimism in the world of who they are in the very early stages, but then you really start to see how they're just so pessimistic, so self-absorbed, so cynical. Oh man, when they're so cynical, they're in their own little world. They're in their own little music video. Everyone else is just a background dancer in their head. It's sad. These are red flags that you want to be aware of for men and women. And don't be afraid to walk away, because these are red flags that are deal breakers that are going to eventually redirect you in a life you don't want to be in. Normalize abnormal behavior. Casualize shady behavior. Rationalize irrational things. Stay away from these red flags, ladies. My name is Coach Undress with coachingwithundress.com. Thank you for watching this video. Again, ladies, if you want to talk, I'm here to help you, and I'm going to throw out a special discounted price for anyone who makes comments on this video and puts a little message about coaching. Share your story, a quick little summary of what you're going through, and put a message about coaching that you're interested in. I will respond to you, and we'll schedule right away with a special discounted price of any session you want. All right? Happy New Year's. I'm happy to be back. Thank you for watching.